Now time for a look at business with Mike Eppel from CityNews 680. Indoor Mike Eppel. Everything's working fine, Mike?
All good. Power's on. We're good to go.
All good. Unlike the U.S. economy. And you and I have seen plenty of moments down through the years of the debt ceiling and negotiations between Republicans and Democrats. But this fight coming up, Mike, it feels different, doesn't it?
It does. You have a very, let's say, hostile environment in Washington right now between the Democrats and the Republicans, and this whole issue of debt borrowing limits for the U.S. government comes around, it seems like, every year or so now, Sid. Basically, by law, the U.S. has to raise the amount of money that it can borrow, and this leads to all sorts of negotiations behind the scenes because the Republicans want to cut spending. The Biden administration want to, for the most part, increase spending. And then these two come to loggerheads. Instead of just raising the credit limit, which they have to do one way or the other, and worry about budgetary negotiations elsewhere, they use this as a negotiating ploy. And this isn't, this has potentially very large implications for the U.S. and global economy. We can't downplay this, because if the U.S. were to default in its debts and see its credit rating lowered, which actually happened back in 2011, you might recall, when they had one of these impasses. You see higher borrowing costs, the U.S. economy triggering into a recession, the global economy slowing down. It's just potential for a big mess. And this could all happen within the next 3 to 4 weeks, according to the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. So we're going to be talking about it, unfortunately, likely on a day-over-day basis, and what it could mean to the financial markets. And this morning, lots of nervousness. We've got the Dow futures down about 150 points.
Yeah, there's already some skittishness out there on this story, no doubt about it. Mike, speaking of skittishness, Meta and the Canadian federal government, I have to be honest, there are a lot of people that are claiming Meta is just kind of putting some veiled threats out there, and they don't mean to kind of really go to town on the federal government when it comes to paying for news. I wouldn't mess with Meta, personally. What do you think?
Well, this was ratcheted up just yesterday, Sid, because there was supposed to be a committee hearing on the new online act that is supposed to lead to social media companies paying for news content. Now, Meta basically walked away because the hearing had its literal name changed to, and I quote, "Tech giants' ongoing use of intimidation and subversion tactics to evade regulation in Canada and across the world." That, to me, sounds a wee bit hostile, or not intimidating, but just a very interesting tactic by the committee that's looking into this, to basically accuse the social media companies of not paying for what they should be. So anyway, Meta said, okay, fine. If Canada is one of the first countries to invoke such a regulation, they will stop paying for news content from the big news generators, the Globe and Mail, the Star, what have you. The issue here, Sid, though, is should they pay? Their argument is, well, by sending out these links to news articles, that leads to clicks on those sites, leading to revenue generation for those actual companies. So this is going to be interesting to see what kind of content is moderated and or paid for on social media if this, again, goes to the next phase.
I mean, this is a federal government that sometimes can't get passports right. I don't know if they're going to, I got to be honest, I don't know if they're going to win this one with Meta, but we'll see how it plays out. Finally, Mike, as you've been reporting for a while here, the global oil prices are kind of silly right now, and a few companies are now paying for it initially, Suncor being one of them.
Well, they're still making lots of money. There's no red tag sale days at Suncor.
Very true.
For Petro-Canada. They made $2 billion in profit, but that was down 30% compared to a year ago. It basically tracks the price for oil, Sid. We were up around $100 a barrel a year ago in the first quarter. This year it was down to around 75. So pretty simple mathematics to see what the energy producers are doing and their earnings. The state-run Saudi Aramco this morning reported a profit of $31 billion. So they're doing just fine. This is the funny thing is, the old adage, buy what you use on the stock markets, for example. Suncor has not been a great performer this year. It's down about 8%. so far. But it, again, tracks what the price for oil does. That is your benchmark.
Finally, Michael, we were asking the question with King Charles III going on our $20 bill. It's now official. We threw it out there to all the viewers and the people on social media. Which Canadian would they like to see on the $20 bill? And the votes coming in are just staggering in support of none other than Mike Eppel being on the $20 Canadian bill. And I got to tell you,
that is not a surprise.
That is a lovely face. I mean,
that's pretty good, actually.
Right? And that, believe it or not, that's Mike smiling. Good. That is Mike smiling.
Thank you.
Yes. I think someone who is so adept at letting us know what's going on money-wise around the world should be honored in such a way. Are you cool with this?
I like it. I like it. Do you want a better screen grab, though?
Well, this is a dangerous game, but sure. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with it? Oh, there you go. There, my guy, Mike Eppel's now producing his own money. Are you seeing this? Didn't like the smile.
That's legitness right there.
I love it. Mike Eppel, have a good day, sir. Thank you, friend.